in the room here in Echo Hotels, the ballroom, the grand ballroom, welcome. Those of us online, you're also welcome. Welcome to our first technical business meeting for 2025. I'm not seeing my slides. Go back to the title slide. The title slide, please. Okay, so welcome, like I said. Today's technical meeting is proudly sponsored by Ingentia Energies Limited. And as part of today's session, we will run through the following agenda. Next slide, please. Yes, so this is the agenda, as you can see on the screen. We've greeted each other, we've registered, I believe. That's essential because you need to get your details in our profile so that when we are sending out emails, you can get them. So it's important to register, not just get carried away and sit down. So I'm welcoming you. I'm excited to see every one of you from last year's conference that we held. Thank you so much for taking out the time again to come today to learn and gain more expertise or knowledge or awareness, depending on the level you are in your career. So we will have a point after here that we will recognize our dignitaries that will be taken by the president-elect. Can you go back to my agenda slide, please? And after that, we will get opening welcome remarks from the president. He'll be joining us virtually. Unfortunately, he's not here with us physically. Then the chairman will be introduced by the president-elect. That will then be followed by the technical presentation by Seun from Ingentia. Then the panelists will have a panel session. The panelists will be introduced by the PE. We'll then have that panel review session and then Q&A moderated by the chairman. We will then follow that with announcements, which I'll come up to share with every one of us to know what's coming up in our calendar. Votes of thanks will be taken by the president-elect, and then we will have our lunch. So at this point, I encourage the indulgence of our president-elect, Mrs. Olujumoke Cecilia Ajayi, to come on stage.
You are changing my name from Olajumoke to Olujumoke. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, our distinguished members and friends of our great association, NAPI. This is our first technical and business meeting in year 2025, and it's being sponsored by Ingentia Energies Limited. Can we clap for Ingentia? So with us here today, we have our fellows. You know, to take them out of their busy schedule is not an easy thing. So we appreciate you, our distinguished fellow of NAPI, who have taken time to attend this technical session today. First on the list is one of my mentors, my role model in the industry, Mr. Austin Avuru. He's a fellow of NAPE, a past president, and the R.H. Adams awardee For those who are non-NAPE members, Arrett Adams Award is the biggest and greatest award in NAPE. So he's one of the awardees of this Arrett Adams award. Next on the list is Mr. Wole Sebioba, a fellow of NAPE. Please, can we clap for him? Mr. Abiodun Ogunjobi, a fellow of NAPE, and our immediate past president. Can you please rise for recognition? I also have another mentor of mine. Can you see, I'm so fortunate to have many, many mentors. And I give God the glory for all they've done in my life in this industry. Dr. Kehinde Ladipo is also a fellow, an Arrett Adams awardee, and a great geologist. Thank God you put all, part of what you have in your brain in that book. At least we will have that, and the younger generations will have something to read, because you mustn't take that away. Another fellow on my list is Mr. Dapo Adeyemo, a fellow of NAPE. Please, can we stand up for recognition? And I have another mentor, another role model, one who has really contributed to what I've become in this industry. Mr. Abiodun Adesanya, a fellow of NAPE and a past president. Online, we have the following fellows: Mr. Abimbola Durogbiton. Please, we welcome you. Thank you for joining us. We have Mr. Alex Taka, a fellow and also a past president of our great association. We have Mr. Akomeno Oteri. He's the one who's actually started this association. The idea came from him. He's a fellow of NAPE. Let's recognize his presence online. I have another mentor and a role model, Dr. Emmanuel Eno, a fellow of NAPE and an Arrett Adams awardee. We welcome you all for coming, joining us for this technical session and business meeting for this month. And we believe that today's presentation will be an insightful one and an interactive one. And I'm confident that our speaker of the day will do justice to the topic. So I encourage us all to settle in and listen attentively, because I believe we'll have one or two things to gain. In NAPE, our idea finds oil. And for our idea to find oil and gas, we must share ideas. And that is part of the reason we hold technical and business meetings every month. So let's listen.
Right, good morning, everybody. Please confirm you can hear me. And anyone hear me either online or in the room?
You can hear you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, dear distinguished fellows and members of NAPI. First of all, let me apologize I couldn't make it physically today. I had some other urgent needs which are beyond my control to change, but I'm quite excited that I was able to make it to join virtually. And I will try to stay as much as I can to connect to the end. But I'm quite excited to really have, the kind of audience that we have both in the room and online for our very first technical and business meeting for this year, 2025. You have all made commitment to be part of what we're doing in NAPE for many years in the past, but also looking at today and into the future. And therefore, I'm particularly excited to see that Ingentia is sponsoring the technical session today on a very topic that is dear to the heart of NAPE. And why I'm saying so is simply because it encompasses a lot of content around the excellent marginal field development, which you all know, NAPE was a key driver to making that a reality in Nigeria. It's also about technical excellence in terms of doing a credible work to be able to support the ambitious target of this country to increase our production, but also business value to our investors and to our country at large. So I'm quite excited that you're able to make it, and I can see already in the room most of our leaders, past presidents. Again, we're getting it in one go. We've got two past presidents you're going to be seeing anchoring the session today. One, a panelist, one, the chairman for the session, and the other fellows that also joined online. So I'm quite excited to really welcome you to the session today. As we always say, we are the knowledge base of the industry, and we pride ourselves in what we do for this nation. Today is just one example of such, where we share our knowledge, collaborate together, and network, of course. And already what we're doing today is also in alignment with our vision. Some of you would have also seen early this year, we started quite well with the visit to the to the President on Energy. And in that discussion, and when we had that courtesy visit with Ms. Olu, one of the key topics that we discussed was around how NAPE can continue to provide a platform for excellence in terms of improving and growing the production for this country. And today, I do believe that what you're going to be hearing and in the presentation from Ingentia, but also from our panelists and our chairman for the session will also help to link to that business driver of bringing our knowledge to bear. So I'm quite excited to welcome you officially as the president of NAPE to our very first monthly technical and business meeting. And I want to really appeal to you that you continue to participate actively. The president-elect and the team has, quite planned for the year, looking into month after month how we have to drive this technical session. So I just can only say you cannot afford to miss any of this session for the year. So once again, on behalf of the NAPE Executive Council, Executive Committee, the Advisory Council, and the BOT, I formally welcome you. And without taking much time, I will hand back to the President-elect, I believe, and then, of course, introducing other folks that will come to the stage shortly to present on the key topic of today. So once again, welcome, and please do enjoy the session this morning into the afternoon.
Very much, Mr. President. Now, I'm to introduce our chairman for today's session. So I will quickly go through his profile. Mr. Biodun Adesanya is the managing director of DigiConnect Nigeria Limited, an hydrocarbon assets management company. He obtained a BSc degree in applied geophysics from Obafemi Awolowo University in 1983 and has been in the oil and gas industry for about 42 years, during which he acquired vast experience in petroleum geoscience and resource management. He started his career in Agip Energy as a copper, and a seismologist with United Geophysical, where he rose to become a party chief overseeing 2D, 3D seismic acquisition operations and processing. He moved to Total in 1990, where he initially supervised seismic operations before joining asset management team as senior geoscientist, responsible for 2D, 3D evaluation and JV portfolio management. In 1997, he joined Landmark Graphics, that's Ali Button, where he worked as a senior technical consultant for 3 years, after which he resigned to manage DigiConnect, a company he founded in 1990. The company pioneered the use of computer workstation for seismic interpretation services in West Africa in 1997. And as numerous categories of clients, including multinationals, Nigerian independents, several marginal field operators, and some West Africa national companies. In addition to NAPE, Abiodun is a member of other professional bodies, which includes Nigerian Mining and Geosciences Society, European Association of Exploration Geoscientists, Society of Exploration Geophysicists, American Association of Petroleum Geologists, Canadian Society of Exploration Geologists. Abiodun's brilliance has earned him several professional recognitions and awards. He is a distinguished fellow and past president of the Nigerian Association of Petroleum Explorationists, NAPI. He's a 2025 NMGS Fellow elect, and Chief Michael O. Feyide UPRC NMG's award in recognition for excellence and consistent contributions in the general area of petroleum engineering and geosciences. He is also an alumnus of Lagos Business School. Having read Mr. Abiodun Adesonya's profile, I would like to add a personal testament of his remarkable character. Not only is he an accomplished geoscientist and executive in the oil and gas industry, he has also demonstrated exceptional generosity and mentorship. Mr. Abiodun has selflessly dedicated himself to nurturing hundreds of young geoscientists worldwide. He has opened his door to numerous graduates, providing them with free tutelage and training. Remarkably, he will even give them gift stipend to the trainees, ensuring their financial stability during the training period. Mr. Abiodun Adesonya's approach embodies the proverb which says, "Give a man a fish and you will feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime." He has empowered countless individuals who in turn have made a positive impact on those around them. His legacy extends far beyond his own accomplishments, inspiring a ripple effect of kindness and knowledge. If you are a product of DigiConnect, kindly rise up. I'm also one of them. So you can, testify to what I've said. So please join me in welcoming my esteemed mentor and role model, Mr. Abiodun Adesonya. We are honored to have you share this occasion. Thank you very much, sir. Sit down. Thank you very much.
First technical session for this year, and a technical and business meeting for this year. And we have no other company than the company of the president-elect sponsoring this event, Ingentia Energies Limited. Please, a round of applause for them. Egbolom, a vision in motion, is a topic that we're going to be listening to, and it's going to be delivered by no other person than Oluwaseun Ogundipe, the TA to the CEO of Ingentia Energies. And I believe that Seun is a very resourceful person, next staff. So I want to assure you upfront that what you get is probably the best you can get on this particular subject. Apart from that, his character is the type that I adore a lot, even though I was his boss at a point in time. He's very gentle, very organized, very meticulous, and he delivers on time, which is a very important ingredient to doing this work. So I don't have any papers, I don't have any, okay, there we go. So Seun has a BS and a master's degree in applied geophysics from Unilag. He's a graduate of Inventure Management Program Class 2017, a mini MBA program from Lagos Business School. So he's also an alumni of my school. Thank you, Seun. He's a geoscientist and currently the TA to the MD CEO of Ingentia Energies Limited, where he contributed to technical, strategic, business management expertise to the growth of the company. His remarkable role, along with that of the team, led to the successful achievement of first oil, a milestone feat for the company. He successfully led the field development plan team, all under the leadership of Mrs. Olajumoke Ajayi F. Napi. Prior to working at Ingentias, Seun started his career with Danvik Petroleum, where he gained valuable knowledge of the oil and gas industry. He later transitioned to SAR Petrol, where he worked as a geophysicist and petrophysicist, contributing to key projects and initiatives. He joined us at DigiConnect in 2019, where he worked with asset evaluation team, making significant impact within the organization. Throughout his career, Seun has led and participated in numerous national and international projects. He has volunteered for NAPE in various capacities and was once the General Secretary of the NAPE YP. Seun is the newly elected YP lead, NAPE YP lead for 2025-2026, and was conferred with the Young Professional Distinguished Service Award at the NAPE Annual International Conference and Exhibition of last year. A round of applause for him, please. So, sorry, you didn't allow me to finish the last paragraph. Oluwaseun is, yes, where I was. He's also a member of AAPG, EAGE, SEG, and SPE. When he's not developing himself in the professional, he plays lawn sports and hangs out with friends. He's passionate about community building and people's development. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Oluwaseun Ogundipe. Yeah, got it. So please, I think we are on. Okay, we're just going to step down so that I can see what you see, and then we will come back up to the stage afterwards. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. And let me join the other voices to welcome you all to this NAPE February Business Technical Meeting holding here in Lagos. And then also to welcome those online as well. Thank you for coming. I mean, it gives me great pleasure to be the one standing here to speak to you all. I've attended several of these sessions, and most times I'm always on this side of the room. But again, I never really imagined that I'll be standing here one day speaking to everybody. The young indeed shall grow. Thank you, NAPE. Thank you, Ingentia, for this opportunity. Time is fast spent. Today, I'll be speaking on the Egbolom field, a vision in motion. But as explorationists, one of our major goals is to decipher and get valuable insights from subsurface data. But most times, I mean, that ends up in maps, or sometimes we'll plan wells and we'll see the success of those wells. Today, I'll be using the Egbolom field as a case study to see, after that, what happens next. And then I'll be sharing our experiences here at Egbolom. Okay. For this presentation, generally, I'll speak to who Ingentia is, has been spoken. I'll speak to the Egbolom field as an asset, and then some of the minimum work programs as directed by the NUPRC, and share one or two challenges that we've encountered because it really wasn't a smooth ride, and then I'll conclude. Just to give an overview of who we are, Egbolom field was awarded in after the 2020 marginal field bid round to 5 companies that I highlighted here. That's SunTrust Atlantic Energies Limited, Petrogas Energy Trade West Africa Limited, Somora GTP Limited, More Oil E&P Nigeria Limited, and Genesis Hydrocarbons Limited. And they all were in the field. They all set up an SPV, which is a special purpose vehicle to operate the Egbolom field. And then I must say that the team comprises of highly technical and management professionals. So to speak next to the asset itself, okay. Let me just wait till it goes back. Okay, just to give an overview of the asset itself. So Egbolom field was one of the 51 fields that were awarded after the 2020 marginal field bid round. And the image you see to the right of the screen there just shows a concession map of Niger Delta. There's a red box somewhere in the center of that image that shows the concession of Egbolom field. So to the north of that concession area for the field is bounded by OPL 2006. To the west and south of that is bounded by OPL 2005, and then to the east is bounded by the former block where it is operated, that is OML 23, operated by Shell. And when this asset was inherited, 2 wells already exist in the asset. It's located onshore Niger Delta, and the first well that was drilled as an exploratory well in 1982 encountered several oil and gas hydrocarbon-bearing reservoirs. The second well was drilled 6 years later as an appraisal well to appraise the structure of that field. Overall, they all encountered oil and gas, but majorly oil. And based on the recent competent persons report by Captain Klein Associates, the estimated ultimate recovery is about 65 million barrels. But again, before I go in, let me just try to give an overview of a summary of what we had achieved in the last few years. So in June, Egbolom field, like I initially mentioned in the previous slide, it was awarded to 5 companies, and then they all came together to form the SPV that called Ingentia Energies Limited, who is operating this field. And then that award was done in June. Between that time, up till sometime around September 2023, over a year, there was a lot of data gathering, evaluation going on, just to understand this asset that we've inherited as a company. And then in October 2023, the process started. I mean, one of the first things as a marginal field is to quickly look at your low-hanging fruit. What exactly can you quickly do? Like I initially explained, there are 2 wells in the field, the Egbolom 1 and Egbolom 2. Based on the reports that we had gathered, we had seen that the Egbolom 1 well had a fish in nose. So again, we didn't have further information about what that is. But we understood that the Egbolom 2, based on information, had also encountered some good reservoirs, which we considered for completion. But I will speak to that later on in this slide. And after which, sometime about 6 months ago, we commenced the extended well test. But I'll share further details on all of these as we continue in the presentation. So again, as exploration is generally, just to give an overview of this field, like I had explained, is an onshore field. What you see at that image to the right of the slide is the correlation of the 2 wells that exist in the field. That's the Egbolom 1 well and the Egbolom 2 well, the vertical and the deviated well, and all the different reservoirs that they encountered and penetrated. Overall, as typical of the Niger Delta, where the reservoirs are within the Agbada Formation, where you see your paralic sands and shale, the regional source rock is the Akata Formation, even though I've heard in several technical meetings where it's been greatly debated as to additional source rocks and the play generally. But overall, within the Egbolom field, the fault is a structural field where the faults are trending east-west, and majority of them dipping south, and you have your antithetic fault as well. Generally, the closure is really fault dependent, and that's also one of the things that has made us to go further to carry out additional evaluations, such as the fault cell analysis, to understand the integrity of these faults. Again, not to dwell so much on the history of the well. I mean, like I said, Egbolom 1 well drilled almost 37 years ago, and then the Egbolom 2 well. But both of them, in general, encountered 14 hydrocarbon-bearing reservoirs. Again, so I'll just go strictly into some of the operations that we had gone through. Firstly, the images you see to the left of the screen is, the first one there is in October 2023, where it was just a bush. And then we engaged the community. Something very important, which I'm sure I'll most likely highlight later on as well, is the need and the importance to engage your community, because really they are your hosts, and then you have to see them as collaborators. And that's what we at Ingentia have also done. It was first a bush, and then we engaged, with the help of the community, to begin clearing of the field. And then sometime in November, that was the situation and status of the field. And up till sometime around January, I know as at 27th of December, the mobilization of the rig commenced. And again, another thing worthy of note is that because we're also looking for low-hanging fruit and wanted to quickly get this field running, we also considered, do we go for a hydraulic workover unit versus a conventional rig? The pros and cons were discussed, and at the end of the day, we went for the hydraulic workover unit. And this saved us some time in terms of mobilization to the field, because again, it also has, the footprint is not as big as a conventional rig. 27th of December, that mobilization commenced, and sometime in 13th of January, the rig was inspected and then accepted. On the 14th of January at midnight, that's where the re-entry operation commenced. But before the re-entry operation commenced, I see the suspension diagram of the field. Maybe just to speak quickly into it, this was what we inherited from the previous operators. We had a bridge plug somewhere around the 958 section, and then we had the cement in 2 different zones. One of them in the 958, around one of the reservoirs that we plan to complete. And then the deeper section, we also had the cement around there as well. So the work program, pretty simple. We needed to get our well back, make sure that we had a well by milling and drilling through the bridge plug and then the cement plug. But was it as smooth? Not at all. But again, along the presentation, I'll share some of the challenges that were encountered with you all. So, like I said, 2 reservoirs were completed. One of them is the D3000, which was completed as a long string, and then the B4000 completed as a short string. Today, we have commenced the extended well test on those 2 reservoirs. So I'll just go to the next slide. Yes, so those 2 reservoirs were completed, and the image, the picture of the samples is what is shown to the top right of the screen. The long string there, which is from the D3000 reservoir, which is a lot more lighter than the short string from the shallower reservoir. I mean, it is believed that as you go deeper, you expect that your hydrocarbon becomes lighter, but may not always be the case anyways. But before we commenced all of this, we needed to make sure that the regulators also carried along. I really want to also, at this point, thank NUPRC for all the support that they are granted to us here at Ingentia. On the average, the 2 wells are doing about 2,500 barrels. And like I said, the short string is heavier, with say 19.6 degree API, and the long string is a 35.6 degree API. But I think there was one of the slides that I missed, so I'll quickly speak to it. Okay, so I'll quickly speak to this slide and then I'll move quickly, as I know that we are behind schedule. So the evaluation that was done on the field, again, one of the things I had mentioned, based on the minimum work program for those that, according to the PIA, it also states that you gather as much data as you can, and then you commence the evaluation of the data sets you've gathered. I tried to show the map, which I'm sure a lot of people in the room are very conversant with or are familiar with. I mean, when we see maps, it sort of gets the exploration, it's very excited. To the right there is a map of the shallow reservoir that was completed, the B4000, as I've also explained. Independent, but across the Egbolom is to the left and Egbolom one to the right, and then several other reservoirs deeper. We just tried to capture this to show the B4000 that was encountered. I'd also mentioned again we had to when we commenced, we had to really speak. We had several meetings when you start production. Importantly as well, in as much as it's one thing for you to have perforated within your oil column, is another thing for you to decide. Bottom left of the screen there shows the hydraulic workover unit that was used for this operation. We also tried to make sure that it was any issues, which we encountered one, but I will share with you very soon. So having carried out the extended well test, and that's what we are currently running on the field, producing from the 2 different reservoirs, the D3000, which was completed as a long string, and then the B4000, which was completed as a long string, as a short string. Okay, so I'll go quickly to share with you some of the challenges that we encountered during our operations. I mean, first of all, I'd shared the suspension diagram that we inherited when we acquired this field, when this field was awarded to us. Firstly is the bridge plug that I showed here. The good thing is we knew where it was. We saw where it was. We saw where it was in the schematics. But one thing that happened to us when we started to mill through the bridge plug was we started to experience resistance. And then it means that we didn't really have information as to the property of that bridge block. But one of the things we had to do was, in the process of that resistance, we had also gotten some of the debris on surface. So an investigation we went as far as trying to investigate based on these debris, just so that it can inform our decision on the milling tool to use. But again, a drawback to the hydraulic walkover unit, unlike your conventional rig, is your trip time. You know that it will take you some time to go into your well, and then when you complete your operation, as the case may be in your well program, it will take you some time to pull out as well. So again, that was another challenge, but we encountered it, but we were able to surmount that. Drilled, finally got a mill to mill through that bridge block, and then we continued all the way until we had a well before we continued our operation. Again, in that process of drilling and milling through the cement in the second zone, which is the 958, we had a twist in the pipe. We had a pipe stuck in O. Again, that was another challenge that was posed on us, and we needed to fish that pipe out of hole. And I know if there are drillers or people who relate with drillers, you know that fishing is a nemesis in your operations. But again, the team had to come together to strategize on what to do. And I mean, thanks to the professional experiences of some of the members on the team, we made one attempt, and at that first attempt, we fished that out of hole, and that enabled us to continue. But again, we learned our lessons, and we decided that, you know what, let's take a pause, because along the way, I mean, as any mechanical equipment, it would always break down. And that made us to shut down our operation for about 6 days, just to recertify some of the equipment, some of the drill pipes, and then get some of spares on ground as well. But I'd also mention that, I mean, thanks to the Commission for the support they had granted in collaboration with NDR for some of the data set that we have received. Again, we also had some gaps. Because, for example, one of the PVT data that we had received, it was corrupted, and we couldn't have access to it. So what that meant was that we would need to acquire another one, just so that we can continue to get good information for the field. Again, in one of the reservoirs that was completed, we had a missing section. I mean, the porosity log was missing. Again, it's good that your gamma ray shows you your lithology, your resistivity log shows you that, yes, there's hydrocarbon, but sometimes you would always want to understand what next, what sort of hydrocarbon is it? Is it gas or oil? Again, the very experienced people can always look at it and tell you what it is. But there was that gap, really. And that's why when we were planning the work program, it was also there that we needed to carry out the saturation log. And then I think finally on the list, even though there are numerous of them, is the community disturbance at the onset of operation. You can imagine an environment where over 35 years no operation has happened. And then, I mean, we do not have enough information of what had happened back then. But again, the community, it was tough. They were very hostile to us. But again, thanks to the strategy of the community liaison manager, and then to the team led by Mr. Olajumoke Ajayi, and the shareholders as well, very, very key, because they were also part of this business. It wasn't just one individual person, but we all worked to collaborate to make it work. And then different strategies, just to make sure, like I initially mentioned, the community is not just a different person on the team. They are also collaborators in this business. So to share some of the successes, like I said, I'll rush through this quickly. Again, the images you see to the bottom left of the screen, that's the wellhead of Egbolom 2 before, when the field was awarded, and then the completion of the well when the Christmas tree and the valves were installed. But again, I cannot overemphasize the need of collaboration in this industry. It is not a one-man business. No man is an island in this sort of business, because it is it is business that needs a lot of professionalism from different parties. First of all, again, the shareholders that received the field, the award of the license, the PPL 202 license, I must really thank them, because again, this project, up to the point where we re-entered and we're currently carrying an extended well test, was fully funded by them. It was equity funded. And I think I would just ask that again, it may be tough for everyone to do that, but again, I must really emphasize the fact that it was funded strictly by the shareholders. I must also thank the collaboration of the staff as well. Like I said, it's not a one-man show. It is everybody working together on the same table. At putting the regulators there, NUPRC has been overly supportive in providing guidance up to the point where we had reached till today, I must say. For the reentry to have happened, there was an application for the reentry operation. For every step along the way, it's always good to show them because they are also the regulators in this industry. Again, I also want to mention the need for the contractors and service providers, because as a company, you will definitely need people to provide services to you. And the collaborative effort of some of these people as well has helped us to gain the success record today. Where Egbolom field is house to two host communities, the Egbolom and another community called Omelema. But again, as not to overemphasize, not to speak too much about it, was the need to bring them to the same table so that we can all work together as one. But just to speak to one or two of some of the things that were done, just to quickly get to cash flow and then get a system in place to run Egbolom field. It was the need, when we started, it was a streamlined contracting process. So rather than, because a good thing is, there's experienced professionals on ground, and then it's the industry that we all operate in. I always say that this industry is a very small space, and you sort of know one of the people that have proven that proven track record in a long while. And then we use that strategy to really streamline based on competency as well. I must emphasize that health, safety, and environment is also very, very key. As at yesterday, when we started 27th of December, we had recorded 406 days lost time injury days. I must give it to the HSC team on ground that has also said, safety is not just for one person, it's not just for the security HSC team. It is for each and every one. It's for every single member in this field. And I understand that in the oil and gas industry, safety, everyone takes safety as very key. Again, we had zero community disruptions, but was it that easy? As I also shared in some of the challenges, there are several things that happened on the background based on the strategies that have been put in place. It wasn't always easy. There's several times our meetings will run late into the night. There are several times that the MD herself traveling down there to the community, sitting with them just to get down to understand, to make them understand what this business is about, and then making them see that we are all here to collaborate to make success of all of this. And then the final thing I'll put there, where Egbolom field is located, in the past, for those who are very familiar with how the Alboa axis, it used to be on the what they call the security operating level. It used to be black. It means that there was no restriction. It was a lockdown area. But again, all glory to God, and then thanks to the strategy, the security architecture that has been put in place and has been strictly followed by everyone. I know there are several levels to this SOA, or the security operating levels, where sometimes it's green, and then you know that you can easily have access. But like I said, in the past, it used to be black. But we thank God we're operating somewhere around amber, where there's some, little restrictions, and up till today, yes, several things have happened around, but we thank God for the success we recorded today based on security. And then, as I conclude the presentation for today, okay, again, not to repeat some of the things I said before, is that the field was awarded in June 2022, and then we commenced with data gathering and evaluation. And then, like I'd also shared, we had a successful re-entry, even though, challenges here and there, full to God, we're able to surmount some of those. We're currently at the extended phase period. Community, again, because that is where your asset is. If they decide today that you would not operate, no matter the technical analysis that you do on the workstation back in the office, or the field work you try to carry out, it will be difficult to operate the field. So that's why I say they are collaborators in this business. And then very key, the permits writing to NUPRC to make sure that we're compliant with all the rules and set regulations, as also stipulated in the PIA as well. We also made use of local content, because I also believe that whatever it is that we need, we have them here in country. And then it's just for us to look and search and ask one or two places around. And that's why an association like this helps you to meet people, to network, to get, to be able to understand who does what, and be able to collaborate to make success of the assets that you are supposed to develop. We're only just getting started. Yeah, we plan to drill more wells to develop the field. As you must have known, as with Egbolom field, it's really faulted. So it would need like several wells to do that development. The production facility as well, as more wells begin to come on stream, it would increase your production, thereby increasing your capacity for your production facility, whether it's your EPF at the early stage or you have your CPF as you continue to grow. Again, we also have plans, to evacuate some of those crude out of our facility. I'd also included there the HSC community and security with power plant updating as much as possible just to keep the health, the safety of ourselves, of our staffs, and everyone together. Indeed, Egbolom field is really a vision in motion. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Seun, for such a brilliant presentation, a brilliant paper. I'm trying to figure out what the best way forward is. Should we take questions? Okay. Okay, so I need the program in my hand. Can you please project the program so that I know who the panelists are, and I can then invite them. I know that one of them is Mr. Austin Avuru, FNAPE. Please. The chairman of AA Holdings, because that's where we are now. We've moved from Platform Petroleum to Seplat. Seplat, we are now AA Holdings. So it's very difficult to introduce him, to say something about him in a very short time. If I start, I will not finish on time. So, and I know that some of us are getting hungry, but you all know Austin. Now, I'm also going to invite Dr. Blessing Ayenihere. Did I get it correctly? Blessing, usually blessings are ladies. I don't know whether it's me. When I saw a guy stand up, I was a bit. Blessing brings to the table some 20 years expertise. Is the general manager facilities for Ingentia Energies, and he's got more than 25 years actually of corporate experience. He holds a doctorate degree in business administration from the Swiss Business School, an MSc in strategic planning from Edinburgh Business School, a BSc from University of Benin. He's also completed executive programs at the London Business. So he's a businessman. He knows about business. So he's got so many degrees. So he will be one of the panelists. Now I was speaking about Austin. Who doesn't know Austin here, so that I can introduce him to you? Because he has about 3 or 4 pages, while some people have half a page. So I don't know what to read. But Austin is a quintessential geoscientist. That's where he started from. He knows the business of searching, finding, and producing oil. And he began his career with NNPC in the 1980, and he went to UNN. You all know he donated a whole building to the Department of Geology at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. He's an alumni of the Harvard Business School. He's everywhere. I can't even read because I know most of it by heart. So I can only tell you that he's a fantastic human being, a wonderful friend, and a very fantastic professional. Austin Avuru, FNAPI. So I think we are constituted. Without much ado, this panel is to deliberate on what we've had and try and profess. But one thing I will kick off with is that, in 2020, when the marginal field bid round was going on, Egbolom field was seriously touted to be a very, very important big marginal field. And all manners of big boys tried to kill themselves winning it. The 5 companies that eventually won it, I think they deserve a round of applause. Because if you know the caliber of those who went for it, how they defeated them, it must be the hand of God. But Egbolom field is one of the top on the list. And it got to Ingentia. Now, the field is producing. They are in extended well test phase right now. And I can tell you that, you need to stay tuned. The best is yet to come. There's still a lot coming up on the field. I know the field firsthand, and I know the data, and I can tell you that, you will hear more about Egbolom field as we move along in this journey. Without much ado, let me pass the microphone on. I don't know what the particular order is, but let me start with the GM for the facilities. You have a mic next to you. Please just give us your views about what you've heard and being an insider, what you think the direction will be. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And our able leader, Dr. Austin Avuru, it's nice to sit by in this time today. And to all the fellows, it's also a privilege to be here. Unfortunately, I'm not a NAPE person, so I'm privileged to sit with us and in this technical session. So far, when we look at the Egbolom field, a lot has been said about it. But I think Seun also spent time in drawing our attention to some critical factors which have been responsible for the success that we have achieved. The first one is that collaboration from the shareholders, collaboration of staff, having the right people on board. If I look at the list of people we have, we can see that we boast from this early stage, more than 100 combined years, of professionals working in that asset. People from different places. The MD with more than 20-something years, myself with more than 20-something years in this industry. We have 15 years, we have 10 years. If we combine all that together, we have more than 100 years starting this. I think that has played a critical role. Now, it's good to bring oil to surface, but that is not the end of it. After bringing oil to surface, you have to monetize it. And the process of monetization requires that you evacuate your crude. We also know that to evacuate, you need to process, first of all. So having the right facility, your early production facility in place, that is key. And we're also very lucky to work with a vendor that was able to produce a very good facility that have supported us through that process, both processing and treating of water, gas, and of course the processing of the crude itself. Of course, like was presented, when this crude came, when we finished the drilling, the long string and the short string, so the characteristics of both crude were very different, all right? The long one was quite light, and then the short string was heavy. And that required that we needed to handle them, very, very uniquely, as it were. So having the right facility to manage this was very, very key. Again, we'll speak to the collaboration and the support of the commission, the regulators here, who worked with us through this process. Another one is, if you know that also when you have a field, you cannot actually determine, the proximity to your evacuation spot. So one thing with Egbolom also was the fact that we are situated in a place where we have a company already existing near us, about 17 kilometers away, and that is Aradel. And the ability to leverage the facility that already existed there was another plus that we had. They have been there for years. They have done a lot of things. So what we did was to collaborate. And this is one of the things that we'll speak to when we talk about the marginal field. I've had the privilege of working with marginal field, clusters of marginal fields, and also a PSC holder. And I can tell you that there are some things that will affect a marginal field coming, to life fully. And one of them is facilities. Your ability to have the resources to develop the right facilities. So having this partnership with Aradel, please let me appreciate them once again. If you have partners like that, it's support, because we are also coming from, that's what we did, 5 companies coming together to leverage evacuation facility, as it were. So they supported us through that process. So we're able to evacuate through either the marine part or the pipeline through to the burning houses. We're also seated in a place where we're about 13 to 14 kilometers from the mouth of the water. And that affords another opportunity. We're in our phase 1 of development right now as we do the EWT. But as we go on to phase 2 and phase 3, we are looking at other evacuation options, and we are hopeful that we'll be able to do that. I think I will stop here for now, but without, it will not be good if I don't mention the support of people like SPDC, the community, which has been emphasized, our HSC record, safety of life, safety of assets, safety of operations, and we want to commend the work that has been done there. Of course, our contractors, and the summary of this is that we have dwelt more on, mostly on 3 things: the people, the process, and of course, our eyes is on making profit. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Blessing. Austin.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you, everybody. I suspect that the reason I was invited to join this panel discussion is to relate the early success we have seen in this field with the experience of almost 20 years we have had developing and managing marginal fields. What you have just heard is what we did at our first marginal field, Egbolom field. It was Umutu field at the time. It was in 2005, almost 20 years ago, that we re-entered 2 existing wells and completed just like this and put on production. Some people will say that we have since gone from Platform Petroleum and we went ahead to co-found Seplat. I don't know what next we're going to do now. But in the presentation, fortunately, I've answered some of the questions I was going to ask, because a 65 million barrel field is not a marginal field. It's big. During our own time, the only field that was in that category was Umusadege field. When we were bidding, they said it was a 50 million barrel field. And when they went in to develop it, it was closer to 100 million barrels. I think Umusadege has done, what we know, probably about 50 million barrels, 40 million barrels, and still about that figure to go. You might also argue that Umusadege field gave birth to Eroton and OML 18. Just as our own marginal field co-founded CEPLAT. So if you say that this is vision in motion, so my question is, beyond this early success, and I emphasize this is early success, because you re-enter an existing well, do a completion, put in an extended well test. Extended well test means somebody has practically brought in a semi-mobile facility to put the field on production. You will have to then come up with your full field development plan. A 65 million barrel field, you could be doing 15,000 barrels a day in the next few years, depending on how many wells you drill. That will also mean you put in a full flow station there. Pipeline options to the different options you are mentioning, whether it's a pipeline to where Aradel is or a pipeline to where you're evacuating by marine. Those ones will have to be properly sized and put in place for full field development and eventual production to the maximum. So that's a lot of work that will come. And to support that work, and if you say this is vision in motion, I keep asking, what is your vision? I'll tell you something about marginal fields. You have two options with marginal fields. A marginal field doing 1,000 barrels per day can support the lifestyle of the shareholders of that company almost forever. We know that Dubry has been in production since 1987. 1987 is almost 40 years. They've never done more than 1,000 barrels per day. But it's been a very, very successful company. It's created very wealthy people, and they are not, so that is their plan, that is their vision. They never set out to worry themselves about, two rigs drilling at the same time, a lot of geologists and petroleum engineers and all the headache. And there's nothing wrong with that. Depends on what you want. Or a marginal field can then come up with very, very big plans. Like you are doing 2,500 barrels per day, and you plan to go up to 15 or 20,000 barrels per day. It comes with you then borrowing money. Then you go into the next phase. You will now be in debt. If something goes wrong, that debt will sink the company. I always say to people think the oil and gas business is where you can be so wealthy. But I've also said that the easiest place to get bankrupt is in the oil and gas business. I'm sure you have been seeing some of the press reports about some field development that has gone a little sour. You drill a well, you've made a discovery, you haven't completed it, you haven't put it on production. Those who are providing the funds stop providing the funds. The rig that was working for you has moved away. And then all we're seeing in newspapers are, Fela used to say those days in that their music, he would say, you be a thief, and not be a thief, you be a rogue, and not be a rogue. Once you start hearing that, I say, somebody don't take something where it belongs to another person. So once you get into that part where you and your bankers are saying, you give me money, you didn't give me money, everybody is in trouble. So I asked the question, what is your vision? Because the transition from 2,000-3,000 barrels a day to 15,000 barrels a day requires a lot of planning, requires a clear vision on how you are going to get there. Because like I'm saying jokingly, between 2,500 and 15,000, you can go bankrupt, you can become very, very wealthy. So again, I ask, what is your vision? Now, to support that vision will be a governance structure that is almost impeccable. You have 5 shareholders, and they're all corporates. And I suspect that these are all the directors of Ingentia. Now, what is the relationship between the board and the management? Does the management have the authority to plan and develop this field? Does the management have the same vision as the shareholders? At 2,500 barrels a day, if you are not owing, you say you develop this field purely from equity contributions. At 2,500 barrels a day, you can share $10 million a year to your shareholders. And if your shareholders are receiving $10 million a year, what is their vision? Plow the money back? or stop receiving this because they want to grow. Management will want to turn this into a 15,000 barrels per day field. Is that what the shareholders want, or they want to make money over the next 10 years? Again, it depends on what their vision is and what management. In any case, it is the vision of the shareholders that will have to be transmitted to the management for execution. And this vision has to be well aligned. Now, do they want to build this into a big independent and probably in a position in the next 3-4 years to be able to raise $400-500 million to buy a bigger asset and become, another? No, not Seplat. And become another, the ones in Shell, Renaissance, okay? Or even Oando, So, and I'm trying to point this out because as I said, I suspect that that's the reason I was asked to come and speak about this. So, you will need a clear vision from the shareholders. What do they want to be? What do they want to become? What do they want to do with this success? It is much, much more difficult to manage success than to achieve success. Trust me, even among the 5 shareholders, some might say, let's build up cash reserves and then, develop this field into a large field and go for bigger assets and build a big company in the next 5 years. Some may have that vision. The others might say, listen, I just want cash now. And these have to be harmonized. And in any event, whatever they then come up with as their harmonized vision is what the management will have to implement. And once you have the management in tune with the board and the shareholders, then whatever vision you have planned out for yourselves is what you'll achieve. I can tell you that this whole thing about vision and mission, vision in motion, you can make your plans over the next 10 years and you actually achieve it almost to the month, milestone by milestone. In 2 years, we'll be on this production. In 5 years, we'll be doing X. In so number of years, we will transfer into this. We will raise more money. You can plan it out and actually achieve it milestone by milestone without missing anything. That's what proper planning and alignment of vision will lead to. But once you have crisis of vision, especially among the shareholders, where some shareholders, what they want is completely different from what the others want, then you have a job to harmonize that vision. And so that when we come back in 5 years, as you say, this is vision in motion, we'll then ask you, how far have you gone? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Austin. I think he deserves another round of applause for his comments. Now, we are discussing Egbolom, an asset that has made the first crossing of the bridge. Now, we all know that there are quite a number of marginal fields. 57 were awarded in 2020 marginal field bid round, and probably 20%, we will say that's about 10, 11, we will say have managed to do something. Out of the something they've done, let's say another 6 or 7 have been successful. Now, for the ones that were not successful, that's a very difficult position to be. There's always an anxiety that goes with your first foot forward if you are attempting to develop a marginal field. It's not a very easy situation. You will probably grow older, gray out quickly, have less sleep, simply because everything is going into that particular activity. Which brings me to the other point, that we have to approach the development of a marginal field in a very professional manner. There are a lot of sentiments that goes into developing marginal field that kind of comes back to haunt the operators of the field because of those sentiments. It's not an easy thing. Austin mentioned Ogundipe as being one of the best marginal fields in the 2003 marginal field bid round, but their journey was a journey that is fraught with all manners of issues. I'll share one. Ogundipe inherited 3 wells from former Elf Petroleum. That was my company. And they were to drill well number 4. In an ideal sense, you would say that they have enough control points. The field should be fairly well known. But when they drilled well number 4, it turned out blank. How do you explain that? You have a 3D seismic, you have 3 wells, you feel, okay, I got it all, the structure is clear, you puncture well number 4, and it was dry. What happened? You know, there was crisis in the land. All monies have been borrowed to do that one well, and there was a reasonable level of confidence that it will be successful. And projections have been made, plans have been made forward. But it failed. What happened? I know Wade Sheweko, the former CEO of Mat Resources, was a technical partner to Midwestern Oil and Gas. They ran around looking for a solution, what happened, an explanation. Guess what happened? Survey. West Belt, Mid Belt, and it threw the well that they drilled off structure completely. They were out of the accumulation. It took a while to even figure out that that was what happened. And the moment they got that that was what happened, then they began to approach and begin to have strings of successes. But that was what happened. Somebody wanted to position Ogundipe 4, got the X and Y in mid-belt, went and established it in mid-belt, went and established it in mid-belt. A distance of about 1.4 kilometers is enough to throw you off where you should be. Same figure, mid and west belt. So when you don't have the right caliber of professionals to follow through these things, you can run into gbese. And that can make you like a snail. You go back inside and never want to come out again. So this is something that is very important that we bear in mind. There are a number of downstream people that have moved upstream in this 2020 bid round. And being downstream, there's a culture. But that culture does not come to the upstream. There's a way they do things there that does not apply to the way we do things here. I think it's very important we have this kind of frank conversations. People must know that there are professionals, and this is the way we do it here. And there's no shortcut. And for those of them that are successful, it's because they have followed the template of how to do it properly. You need to look properly and select people that will tell you exactly the right way to go. Marginal field can be very successful, as Austin has testified, but it can also be a nightmare. A nightmare that you will be doubting yourself. All your savings is gone, and you are now trying to decide, should I borrow more? Should I do this? What should I do? Should I sell more properties to do that, and so on and so forth. So it's a very serious business. And you have to make sure you plan. In terms of the vision, now, if you cross the first bridge, your first attempt successful, it's also very easy to get carried away. Oh, we have arrived. Okay, it's time for the private jets to start coming in. Let's collect our dividend, and let's pick our private jets and move forward. Again, you are heading into a deep shade. Marginal field is like a plant. You have to water it, and then it grows. And you have to nurture it, you have to put manure, just like anything else that you are growing, and you have to take that pain. Instant successes should not, you should not be carried away with it. And you should ensure that you just simply approach it organically, one thing at a time, and make sure that you get it up to that point. So this is just my humble contribution to the discourse. I want to leave the floor open for comments from rank and file, anyone who has a comment. We have a microphone in the audience, I believe. Otherwise, we have a couple of microphones on the stage. Let me meet him. This one. Yeah. Okay, your name, the affiliation you represent, and then a very brief question, and you are free to direct it to anybody on the high table here.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Abiola Shoremeku. I'm ex-NAOC, now Owando. Now I run my company, a training and consulting firm. Okay, so nice presentation. Let me congratulate Ingentia again, and all the nuggets given, great ones. I think from the presentation, the thing that really stood out for me was that zero community disruption. In our days in Najib, I mean, generally in the oil and gas industry, we know that the fear of community is the beginning of wisdom, because you could have your facility, you could have everything. If community disturbs you and you're not able to go into the field, especially in the PIA now that is drill and drop, it's really a big deal. So I just want you to share with us, because I noticed you said something like having a community liaison manager. I think it would be nice for us to just hear, I mean, some of the strategies you used, that you're able to have a zero community disruption, because for me, I think it's a great fit. Thank you.
Okay. All right. That's Mrs. Abiodun. Thank you very much. I think. Okay, can you hear me? Okay, I think this is better. I mean, just straight to the point, and maybe in case I miss anything, maybe someone from the team can also support. I think first things first is, when we got in, there was a bit of resistance. The fact that it was zero, truly, I mean, technically, is that there was no disruption to our operations. But did we have a lot of agitation at the back? Yes. And it still continued up to the point that, again, like I mentioned, that well, one of the wells, is in an area where two communities have a court case, and it's still ongoing at the moment. But I mean, to keep it very simple, is that we have to make them understand that we are here to work with them, alongside with them. And then there are different strategies, one of which is also to try to make sure that some of the people that work on our field today are from those communities, in different aspects, whether it's in the technical work to be done, whether it's in security, whether it's in supporting one or two operations. Again, like I said, as little as the bush clearing that was done by the community people, and not just from outside. Yeah, there were initial agreements, there were initial conversations that were held. But I mean, just to summarize it, is to say that the community needs to feel that you are part of them first, by bringing them to your side, or by going to your side, to their side, as the case may be. So these were some of the things that we did that helps us to sustain the conversation. We're in constant communication with them. Once they need anything, we try to listen to them. In areas where it may seem like it's too much, we let them know. But it's continuous sensitization, as NUPRC will always advise us to do. Continue to sensitize them, because what had happened before, pre-PIA, is totally different from what the PIA says at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So maybe I should just add to that, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I think the first thing is for the people to trust you, the community. They are people. They have sincere agitations and demands. If they can trust you, they will work with you. So building that trust is very fundamental. And in building that trust, you have to see them as partners, key stakeholders that will work together. And there's this popular word we use, FTO, freedom to operate, all right? Freedom to operate. They are the ones that give you the freedom to operate. And if they are not happy, they can withdraw that freedom. I think one of the things we have seen is that openness. Once they know that, don't promise them what you cannot do because you just want to end the meeting. If you say you will do a thing, please stick to that thing and do it. All right? And let them also see themselves as partners. So if you succeed, they succeed. Once that partnership is established and they work with you, they will be the one to protect you. They'll be the one to tell you where things are wrong. I think what we have seen that have been problems most time is people promise what they cannot do because they want to end meeting. People think that, okay, they have said a thing, these people are not smart enough to know. They have intelligent people there, they have smart people. Partner with them, collaborate with them, see them as key stakeholders. And I think that's one of the things we have done to get to where we are.
Thank you. And just to add one more line to that, next door to Egbolom, we have the Aradel activity. When you speak to Aradel people, they will tell you they've had zero interruptions, simply because they've been very proactive. They were the first marginal field, and they have taken this very pragmatic approach to engage the community properly from get-go. So they've never had any issue, they've never had any lost time due to community unrest or anything like that. They have an excellent relationship. They are community members as stakeholders. As you know, Aradel has a refinery, they produce gas, they have LPG, they have diesel, then they have the regular crude oil that they export and all of that. The community is a stakeholder, and that has helped significantly. And because we're all Nigerians, it should be very easy for us to straight away talk to each other. Thank you. The question and answers are of two parts. The one that we are doing now, physically in the room, and then there are the ones online. I will be taking the ones that are here in the room, and then the publicity secretary will handle the virtual ones for those that are participating online. So, further questions, please. Yes. Thank you. Dr. Olawoki, yeah, it's right in front of you.
Good afternoon.
Dr. Olawoki, by the way, is one of my bosses. When I was a youth corper, I would not fail to acknowledge him and Mr. Isaac Odedere and Mr. Temisa next to him. These were all my bosses. In 1983, when I was a youth corper with Ajipe Energy and Natural Resources. Thank you. Please go ahead. I just have to say that.
Thanks so much. I wish I was as tall as yourself. Maybe this story won't happen. But let's get to it. Austin, you always stir things up in a direction that keeps people thinking. I like to look into your statement, and I want to read, vision in motion. I like to add that for vision in motion, it should then be management mission in action. So, if you allow me, I would like to rearrange this. We can put the vision on top, because without really the vision, you can't really get it. But if the vision is clear, the motion will be clear. And the vision will be top directors, shareholders, and then the management, Jumake and them, will have sleepless night, keeping things going. So hopefully that vision in motion should be management in action, right? And that will help. Thanks so much for your presentation, sir. Can you bring up your map again?
Bring up your what?
Your map. Can we see that map again?
Yeah. Do you need the seismic as well as the well logs?
I need the seismic and the map. Oh, Dr. Ladipo is here. Then whatever I say, he will clear it.
Okay, Tunde.
If we can see the map again.
We're asking for the map.
Yes, and I think we can we zoom up on that structure map? It will be a classical example of how the hanging wall works as against the foot wall. It will be a classical example. And I think we can all go back and check it. If there's seismic, we can quickly nail it. But I think the next thing will have been a good seismic close to this cross-section. Then we can bring in the story a little bit fine. But the good news is that if that it is, it's a classical example of how hanging wall system works in the system. Thanks so much.
All right. Next time we'll bring the workstation. Bring the workstation. Please, there's another gentleman at the back there.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Julius Adesun. I'm with Panoshan New Cross Group. I'd like to congratulate the Ingentia team for the great milestone achieved. So to bring this down to G&G, we are explorationists. So I have a couple of questions. I'm just curious. 2 wells were reported already drilled by the former operator. And then I want to find out if any of those have actually fully appraised those 14 hydrocarbon sands. And then what exactly is driving your consideration for the 2 levels you have completed? And I also like to know if the FDP that was recently approved by NUPRC also consider your gas development strategy. Is it an integrated FDP or just for the oil development? And if it's an integrated FDP, what are your strategy for your gas utilization? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Julius. And then thank you, Doc, for these comments he had also mentioned and shared. But yeah, the first one is if our wells are fully appraised. I mean, to keep it very simple, the truth is, I mean, if I relate back to the example that the chairman also mentioned, there are times that, anyway, that was a different case anyways, but there are also times that we will meet some things that are unexpected. But back to the question, to keep it very simple is that what you really want to understand is the extent of hydrocarbon. First of all is the structure and then the hydrocarbon limits. So have they appraised it? Yes, to answer the question simplistically. That, I mean, the seismic has helped us to understand the extent of our structure, and then the wells have also encountered their different water contacts to see the extent of hydrocarbon. Yeah. But your second question was about completion, why the decision or the choice of why we went to that well. I mean, first thing is that based on the report that we had received, we just really wanted to go to the low-hanging fruits. First is, I mean, we analyzed the 2 wells based on the report that we had received. The first well had a fishing hole that we needed more information to understand. So he moved us to the second well. But again, the 2 wells, I mean, back to a comment I would want to make is that they both saw the same sand. Yeah. And then the reservoirs that we completed, there were other reservoirs that this Egbolom 2 that we completed 2 reservoirs in saw water in the sands. But we just focused on based on the reports we had also inherited from the previous operators and focused on the reservoirs that we're seeing. The cross-section that was shown shows, I mean, there are different series that were grouped these reservoirs into the B series. And then first of all is the positioning of the well in the reservoir, and then the resource, the volume of hydrocarbon in that reservoir. So those were the things we considered. First of all is that many of the other sands that the second well saw was wet, they were wet, and then the sands that had hydrocarbon in them, we needed to consider the position of the well and the resource as a whole. So that's why we narrowed in on those 2 reservoirs that we completed. And you said gas. I mean, we are considering gas. We have an extensive plan to utilize our gas in-house. First of all is, to really power the flow station or the facility itself. And then the plan of the gas is in the period of development of the field. First of all is gas local utilization in our field. We also intend to get domestic companies that will be able to utilize this gas. And in the future, it's possible that there's also a gas line that passes through us, and we intend to inject and then sell to the facility that is close by. And again, it's possible that it could also be used as a drive mechanism later in the future, but a lot of studies will be done. But as gas being considered, yes, we have that in our mind to be able to execute. Thank you.
Hi, PPG.
Good afternoon. I guess we are in the afternoon now. Thank you, Ingentia, for the presentation. It's always a delight to see indigenous operators excelling like this, because it demonstrates the capacity and the competency that we have, and we can do more if given the opportunity. But I want to look at it from the finance side. And I know in one of your flyers, you said, if not for the shareholders, perhaps we won't be talking about this story today. And I'm sure there are other 56, others too, that may be in that similar situation. Now, just to throw it open and also to the panel, how else can we develop an asset like this without a lender support? How else can we finance, assuming the shareholders of Ingentia are not where to put their money on the table? Perhaps we will not be talking about this success today. And there are other fields like that. So talking about financing projects, taking them to production, what else can be done if we don't have the lender support? Thank you.
Well, there are only 3 sources of funding for developing a field, major field. There is equity, there is contractor financing, vendor financing, if you are lucky, and then there is debt. Equity has to be the first thing. If you do not have sufficient equity to inject into it, then you go look for a partner. That's why you see some fields are developed by technical partners. They're actually financial technical partners. So the partner will bring in the money and develop it for you, and you share the profits. It is difficult to develop a marginal field without equity. The banks cannot take that much risk. It's not even in your own interest to borrow to do the early things. You have to have sight of production. You should have taken the field to a point where you are close to production. If you have tested it, for instance, and you simply need to lay pipelines and so on, you can borrow to do that, knowing that you are almost sure that by X, Y, Z time, there will be production that you can repay. If you borrow because you are close to somebody in a bank and they give you those loans, the one I'm talking about, the fella song, they give you all those loans that you do not deserve to take. And you put it in there, and midway the money is finished and you're not on production, everybody's in trouble. So equity is very critical. If you can't inject sufficient equity, then you look for a partner who will inject the equity. And then vendor financing and debt can then come on the back of equity. It will always be the safest way to go.
If you don't mind, let me add to that, Mr. Chairman. Okay, so I happen to have worked with the Midwestern team that was referenced here. I spent about 14 years in that asset. How did they develop that asset? It was the partnership thing. After that first well was re-entered and there was nothing in it, it was like shutting down. There was no other place to get money. But that partnership where somebody comes in, takes the risk, but you have to be ready to share. What we have also seen in this space is that some people are not willing to let go some interests, but they want to get debt. Some people are not willing to support debt at this level. They want to ensure that as they come in at this high level of risk, they are also able to take better returns. So that is one of the areas to look at. Those that have the assets, they don't have the resources. Are they willing to partner such that people that are taking the risk share in the return at the end of the day?
Thank you. Dr. Ladipo. You can sit down, sir.
I prefer to stand up, Biodun. Ingentia, well done. I think you've started on a good foot. The comment made by the chairman, by Dr. Avuru, is very crucial. How do you align the vision of the board with the management? The management has a very major task, which is to give a clear indication of what the size of the prize is. When you look at historical developments in the Niger Delta, this is a 35-year-old field. I can bet you that your current estimate of I don't know whether it is 2P, 64 million. You can quadruple it just simply applying new reprocessing techniques to existing data, new workflows, and that is what has made the big difference to a lot of marginal field owners. Because it also has implications, for example, not only on what the sizing of your facilities are. If you plan for 10,000 barrels, 2,000 barrels, 3,000 barrels, and then you drill your next well, and you encounter additional reservoirs, not to talk of going deep, which is another bounty. How do you manage that in terms of sizing your facilities and going up the ladder, ensuring that the board and the management are aligned in terms of managing expectations? So there's that big gap of technology and new workflows. When I was in the industry, even now, 15 years later, technology has advanced considerably. You now have AI coming into the picture, the way in which you can reprocess even existing seismic data that will bring out what we used to worry our heads about, non-amplitude supported pays, fault definition, the size of your accumulations. So technology is abundant for you now. Integrated workflows are abundant for you now. And I can guarantee you, like Dr. Avuru and Biodun will agree with me, that if you plan that technical gap very, very well, you can make a whole big difference, which not only has implications for your FDP and production down the road, but also ensuring that the business survives with good alignment between the board and it also affects how much of money you're looking for. Okay, so I wish your company in Ingentia success, Ingentia success. There's that gap which you have not talked about, but I'm sure that your MD and your technical group can do a lot more on that. It can throw significant surprises at you. That's just my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I think that will probably have to be our last question. Time is fast spent. We have questions online, which we're still going to take. So I invite the Publicity Secretary to bring up the questions. I think she has them already. You could just read them out, and then this high table will try and respond. How many questions in all do you have?
We have about 6 or 7.
Oh, wow. Can we do 5?
Maybe, yeah, I'll just...
Okay. Or if you see if you can combine some questions together. She can read them. You can just go ahead and read them. Read them from where you are.
Okay, so there's a question from Olawole Oguntoye. He says, with the benefits of hindsight and the experience with the hydraulic walkover up unit, do you think a conventional rig would have been a better option?
Go ahead and read the rest. Okay. Go ahead and read the rest.
Okay, Adeyemi Momo says, in project implementation for the field development, how did you manage risks associated with long lead items and detailed engineering? The next one, okay. This is from Oluwaseun Noah. He wants to know the success rate of FDP with respect to the Egbolom field and what are the key lessons looking forward. And then the fourth one is from Joseph Oni. He wants to know when are you expecting the field for commercial operation? Yeah, same person. So I'll go to the next one, which is from Dinka Jerome Giwa. He's asking, what are the key geological challenges in Nigeria's energy transition, and how can young geologists position themselves for emerging opportunities in the industry? Just take those ones.
Okay. Okay, I think the first question was on hydraulic walkover unit, pros and cons of using one versus the other.
Yeah. So, based on the first question, conventional in hindsight, would we have used a conventional rig? I mean, at the point where we needed to make a decision, there were several factors. Cost was one of them. Time to get them to commence that operation was one of it. Yeah, availability of rigs as well. So, I mean, those were the things we considered, and we decided to go on with the hydraulic walkover unit. The other one about risk associated with LLI, I think to keep it simple, I would just say planning. I mean, planning and those things need to be procured on time, and all of the designs, engineering design, and whatever needs to be done on time. I think I'll just keep it at planning. And there was another question from Oluwaseun on the success rate of the FDP and key lessons. I think first things first is to understand the different items or the different parts of the FDP itself. Yes, those are the things that from our end at Ingentia we had also considered. First of all is the subsurface. The subsurface needs to drive the surface. I think there were several comments that have also been made in the audience today about that, and those were the things that we also considered. And these are the things that you also plan from the onset in the early days of your development of field. And yes, I mean, those are the things we had looked into. Someone mentioned something about gas. We had that in mind. I mean, following the commission as well, they would always be there to give you guidance as to regulations that are also coming in that we may not be aware of or we need to follow up with. So there's another question of on career, something about the key challenges. Well. Okay, energy for young people. For me, is to continue to build ourselves with knowledge, to research, to learn. I mean, Several comments have also been made based on that. There are new technologies that we can utilize. I'll just take from the last comment that was made. I think for me, that's really, really, really key. Integrating technology and then utilizing technology and then integrating, using integrated workflow. I mean, that can also apply to our careers, wherever, whatever the level we are, to continue to grow, to continue to expand, to continue to be open-minded as to the new realities, just so that we can work effectively and efficiently. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. That's it. Any comments from anyone? Thank you. Oh, you want to make a
Yeah, I thought you wanted me to respond. So I think there's one here which is about when is the commercial operation starting. We don't intend to stop. We are engaging the regulator. We are moving step by step, and we are ensuring that the things that we need to do, we are doing them. After EWT, what next? After FDP, what next? So we are working with the regulator to ensure that we don't stop. And we also know that the federal government is out there trying to see how we can increase production, and we are aligned with that objective. We don't intend to stop, and we hope that with the cooperation of the Commission, we'll be able to achieve continuous operation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause to Ingentia, a round of applause to Seun Ogundipe, a round of applause to the team that have deliberated on this topic. I think it's been a very rewarding and scintillating afternoon time we had here. I want to thank you very much. I will now have to hand over to the President-elect to coordinate the rest of the program. I think we are done at this stage. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and the panelists. Thank you, Seun, the speaker. Ingentia is the one sponsoring this program. We are the ones who made the presentation, but I must confess that I've learned a lot myself. So I really appreciate your time for coming. Thank you very much. We have some fellows. Where's the paper? Excuse me. Bring my bag. No, look at that paper. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So while the presentation was going on, we have some other fellows who joined us. Mr. Max Court, Ogunjemi Rove FNAPE. Please, can you stand up for recognition? Thank you. Dr. Muyiwa Olawoki FNAPE. Thank you very much for joining us. And we have someone here. He's not a fellow, but he came to, attend this session for the first time. His name is Mr. Richard Ike, MD Monachi Limited. Thank you for coming. Thank you for taking time to attend. And I'm sure you've gained a lot from this session. Thank you very much. And before we go to Gift's presentation, I would like to recognize the ESCOs of NAPI. Without their sleepless nights and other things they do, we won't keep this association standing. Please, can all ESCOs of NAPI stand up for recognition? Thank you. I'm sure some of them are online. Please stand up, let's see you. Some are online, some are... Thank you very much for your hard work. Thank you. So, please, give the presentation. Okay. Please, our chairman. photograph.
Yes.
Okay, the speakers. Okay, after their pictures. So now the next on our agenda is sponsors remark. Dr. Blessing, come and speak on behalf of Ingentia.
Thank you. That's a whisper from the MD. All right. On behalf of Ingentia Energies Limited, we want to thank everybody for coming. We want to thank NAPE for giving us the opportunity to sponsor this event as well. We want to thank the chairman, past chairman, all the fellows here. And we want to, I'm excited to see what has happened, this engagement and the knowledge that, this one pass across. I want to say on behalf of management and leadership of Ingentia, that will continue to support in doing this. We are looking forward to other sessions that will participate in. I thought we should appreciate Ingentia for that. All right. We also want to thank the chairman, most especially for availing us his time to chair this occasion, and for everybody that has contributed, the questions, the advice, the counsel that we have gotten here. I want to say we are also open for further suggestions, anything you think we can do better, because some people here may actually have some more information than we do. Maybe we are part of those that did the first well in 1982 or the one of 1988. We are happy to receive information from you. And as we develop further from our phase 1 to phase 2 to phase 3, we are happy to collaborate as we do this. So I want to thank you once again. Thank the staff of Ingentia, the leadership of Ingentia, the leadership of NAPE, and of course, everybody that is here today. Thank you, and we look forward to another session. God bless you.
Thank you, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed the session so far. In view of time, we'll just have to move very quickly now. I'll be taking the announcements. Okay, so I want to share with us very quickly what we've done within from January up till now, and upcoming events and all of that. So what we see here, and again, the president had already mentioned most of these things. So all I've done here is to have a collage of pictures from our NAPE ESCO retreat that we went for this January. Yeah, so these are the pictures. A lot of them you've seen, I mean, one way or the other, and we will give you more details later. But clearly what you can see is the key picture from our courtesy visit. So we had courtesy visits as part of our retreat. We visited the special advisor to President on energy, and that's the picture you see there. And then we also visited Tedford. That's another picture you see right there. We had very good exposure onto the media where we contributed, and we made headlines in most of our major newspapers with regards to oil and gas issues and what our thoughts were. So we made headlines in the news as well. Here are the good moments that we shared during the retreat. So you can see the ESCOs having relaxed time, enjoying themselves and all that. So let's go to the next slide, please. So here, what are our upcoming events? Tomorrow, starting tomorrow, we are going to be having the NAPE AAPG collaboration training, where SLB will be providing petrol hands-on training for our young professionals. That comes up tomorrow, and it will run for, I think, 3 days. The next one is, next slide. Okay, so we have some external engagements that are coming up, right? So the key ones I've highlighted here, where we will be participating, both exhibiting, and our president will be speaking. So the SIPEC 2025 conference coming up next week, we are official exhibitors, and we are also, our president will be speaking on African gas strategies, opportunities, and challenges. You don't want to miss that, session, if you can. The next one that's coming up still in February, this one, NMGS conference happening in Abuja. We are also exhibiting, and our president will be speaking, moderating a session there. The next one, again, this is happening in Abuja. SIPEC one, I forgot to mention, will be happening here in Lagos, Echo Hotel. The NIES 2025 conference, we are also exhibiting, and then we are also, our president will also be a keynote speaker there. Next slide, please. I'm happy here to announce that plans have started for our upcoming 2025 NAPE Annual International Conference and Exhibition. What we see here is the masthead. So, which means that we are ready to go public now with our advertisements or requests for opportunities for people to register and also participate in maybe getting exhibition booths for their companies and all that. So this is our official masthead for the 2025 conference. Like I mentioned, the theme for the conference is, I apologize, quite long, revitalizing the Nigerian petroleum exploration and production strategies for energy security and sustainable development. So that's the theme of our conference. It's going to happen between 9th to 13th of November 2025 here in Echo Hotel and Suites in Lagos. The next slide, please. Okay, so we are going to start going out now to call for registration. This is the template that you will see when we call for that registration. So just to give you a flair of what you will be seeing going forward from today. Again, we're calling for sponsorship. Sponsorship opportunities exist in different categories. Like we all know, golf tournaments, we have short courses, they're all listed there, management sessions, and the virtual field trip, everything, African nights and all of that. So we are calling on sponsors to come in and then take up some of these sessions to see if they can support it. And yeah, so key thing to know is that we have early bird registration that will end by September 1st. After September 1st, we would increase it by percentage. Again, if you note, we have increased again the cost for the registration from last year, just to benchmark what our economy is telling us. So we've made some increase that I'm sure we can still be able to afford. So we look forward to that. All of the inquiry details is as listed as you see here. So Lawrence and all the other leadership team is there if you want to reach out to us. So go to the next slide, please. Our technical business meeting has resumed. This is our first one, as we all know. Other ones are already lined up. North American chapter is going to hold February 26th. And Warri chapter, February 28th. Tentatively, it can change anyway. We are calling again for sponsorship of these technical business teams. I mean, it's an opportunity for the companies to showcase their expertise and attract investors. So it's an opportunity for us for companies to key in and quickly secure a space for sponsorship. Again, the focal person, Lawrence, is there, and then our president-elect, Mr. Olajumoke Ajayi, can also be contacted. The next slide, please. Membership dues. Let's not wait till it's time for conference before we are able to make up our payments or pay to participate in our activities. So we are calling for all of us to please renew our membership dues so that you can gain all of the benefits that we are trying to provide for all of our members here in Nigeria and across the world. So help us achieve our goal. I mean, that's what this call is for. The fees, as I think, is still as last year. We have not changed anything. So students, 2,000 naira, help pay up and then start to enjoy everything that we are doing. Next slide, please. So I'm just trying to wrap up here. We have newly constituted Executive Council for the 2024-2025 year. And this is the picture of all of the ESCOs. Because of time, I will not be able to read it. I mean, we were inaugurated during the awards night, but here it is. We will still share it widely so people can really go in and see the pictures and names and affiliations of our ESCOs. The next slide. This is big. This is big. NAPE is turning 50 this year, so it's a huge milestone. A silver jubilee celebration. Look out for it. It's in the works right now. We will provide more details as we build upon this, but it is going to be a big one, and we will celebrate it really big. So stay tuned for more details. I think that's the end of it. Next slide. Thank you. Okay, so. Okay, I'll call the P now for the vote of thanks.
It's been a long day, but we tried to see that we finish early. It's now some minutes to 2. Thank you very much for taking out time to attend today's session. And before I do the general give the general thank you, I must commend the sponsor of today's session, Ingentia Energies Limited, for accepting to sponsor today's session. It's not always easy getting companies, to take up the first meeting of the year. So we appreciate Ingentia. Thank you very much for sponsoring, and we look forward to having more of you next time. And to our fellows, our past presidents, our Aretadams awardee, both who are here physically and online, we thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to attend and also to participate. Thank you very much, all members of NAPE, distinguished members and friends of NAPE. And we look forward to having you next time. To our panelists, we thank you for the insightful discussion. And we look forward to everyone participating in the monthly technical meetings. This is just an example of what we will be seeing in the coming months. Thank you very much. Be part of all our programs. Our 50th anniversary, like you've heard, is coming up. It's a big deal, Golden Jubilee. We will call upon you to also come celebrate with us, and we look forward to you taking up exhibition stand, sponsorship of events for our forthcoming NAPE conference. God bless you all, and stay back to have lunch. That will be served shortly. God bless. Bye.
Thank you, PE. Okay, so lunch is ready. And we have 3 serving points. This one on my left here is for our fellows, past presidents, and invited guests. And then the remaining 2 on the other side at the end there is for our distinguished members. So it's open now. We can go for our lunch. Thank you all for coming.
We're done, right?
Yeah,
here. No, enter this.
Make I dey here now.
Yeah.
I know say we be team.
I know. Boss.